There's always excuses for why these schools can't perform. But part of what we want is an environment in which everybody agrees, from the governor to the school superintendent to teachers, principals, and most importantly, parents and students, that there's no excuse for mediocrity. And we will take drastic steps when schools aren't working.
Two million California school children attend failing schools this year. Of the 2,240 schools that have received extra state money, 924 of them have failed for no less than 7 years. 7 years too many. And only 8 of those 924 failed schools have managed to turn their performance around. Whose children attend these failing schools? Parents don't know because it's the system's dirty little secret. Well, not so little. Millions of kids, mostly poor, condemned to a life of failure by a system's secret.
Because improving education is central to rebuilding our economy, we set aside over $4 billion in the Recovery Act to promote improvements in schools. This is one of the largest investments in education reform in American history. And rather than divvying it up and handing it out, we are letting states and school districts compete for it. That's how we can incentivize excellence and spur reform and launch a race to the top in America's public schools.
President Obama is saying, hey, at a certain point we're taking, and he literally said, these were actually his words, he said, we will take drastic steps when our schools are failing. We are not going to accept it any longer. It's a civil rights issue.
We name schools after people we think our kids should look up to. But how would Cesar Chavez or Dr. King or Presidents Kennedy, Lincoln, or Roosevelt feel about their name being on a failed school run by failing adults? These children are sentenced to a life at the bottom of our nation's economic ladder. They never even get a chance to attain their God-given potential or the American dream.
There's Fremont High School in South LA. It's been on this watch list at least 7 years, I don't know how many more years. The superintendent shut the school down. Just said, we cannot tolerate this. This school is not functioning. We are going to shut it down, bring in a whole new management team. I mean, basically saying we are starting from scratch. It was bad. We are moving to answer the call from President Obama to turn around the lowest performing schools in the nation. And when you look at it, we estimate, the president estimates there's about 2,000 schools in the nation that produce 50% of the dropouts.
It doesn't have to be this way. There are people running schools in some of the toughest places in California who are succeeding.
All have working titles, right?
Oakland Charter Academy is a no-nonsense school. I'm a no-nonsense type of leader. You'll hear me barking up the hallways, yelling, inspiring, giving speeches in classrooms.
The part that I love best about Oakland Charter Academy is the fact that our expectations are really high, consistently. You see other schools where they have the demographic of kids that we do, and they just automatically expect that these kids aren't going to be able to learn. These kids are in gangs. This is what they're doing. We don't expect our kids to be gangs. We don't expect our kids to do drugs. We don't expect that our kids are going to get pregnant. We expect exactly the opposite from them every single day.
What we do works because it's small environment. We focus on structure, discipline. We double up instructional minutes in the core subjects.
And we don't let them get lost. We make sure that we know where they are. If they're not at home, we make sure that we find out why not. We talk to them every day. We get involved in their lives to the point where we know what's going on so that we can try and counter some of the stuff that happens on the streets when we're not around.
So there's a wide, so many reasons why we do what we do, and we've been so successful. The system as it is not working.
I don't understand when people decided that the future wasn't important.
The old way of doing it, you can keep going. You can keep going and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you've sent more kids to prison than you have to the university level. That doesn't matter. Like I said, we can go on and on. But the bottom line is if the teacher's not a good fit at this system, they won't be here for long. We need results. These kids need results.
2 million California school children attend failing schools this year. Let's stop complaining about too little money and too much testing. There's plenty of blame to go around, but there's too much time wasted and not a lot of time left. Our third graders will be dropouts before the arguing is over. President Obama said we'll take drastic steps when schools aren't working. Let's take charge, school by school.
There are 571 names of schools, 571 schools in the golden state of California that have failed to meet their academic targets for at least 7 years. There are more than 2 million children in California public schools today who are enrolled in a school that has failed to make adequate yearly progress. The path of least resistance has led down the path of the school of no results. We know it, and that's what Race to the Top is about.
It wasn't easy. Resistance was fierce. But those who fought for change won. The most significant education reforms in a generation.
And today, in the signing of this legislation, we cross the finish line. But I will tell you, this has been more than a race. It's been a marathon, and we still have a lot more to go.
The Obama administration came in with a big bang, and they said, we're going to reform education, and we're going to help the states. We're going to put $4.3 billion of discretionary funds up there and let the states compete for that money. The only problem was, Senator Gloria Romero and I got together and talked about that we were not able to compete because we did not have the laws in place.
You know, Senator Romero, on a number of pieces of legislation where she's challenged the paradigm, has asked for my support. And each time I've said yes. And I want to acknowledge you for your courage, for standing up, for doing the right thing, for fighting the good fight, Senator Gloria Romero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Governor. I've got to tell you that today, with parents as our partners, we are marching into the next chapter of public education in California. And that's what this bill is about. It's about telling the moms and the dads of California that they believe in you. We believe in you, and we will never turn around our schools without our parents being critical partners in this process. Mr. Governor, you know and I know that we could have abdicated our responsibility. We could have turned our cheek. We could have walked away. We could have said what has been done in California year after year. High poverty, African American, Latino, working class white children, Asian Pacific Islander, turned our cheeks and walked away. We were not going to do it. It was a moment in time, a moment in history. We've run this race. We are ready. Yesterday, when we finished that last vote in the California State Senate, Mr. Governor, I am so proud to stand with you today, to all of the parents, all of the students, business and civil rights, and sweet Alice herself, to basically say that together, never again will we say that schools can languish without intervention. It's a new day, it's a historic day, it's a beautiful day. Mr. Governor and State of California, ready, set, go. And I'm going to give you the pin just in case, just in case. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Knowledge is power. The Superintendent of Public Instruction will be publishing a list of 1,000 of California's lowest performing schools. If your child attends one of these 1,000 schools, you can move your child to a higher performing school, even if it's outside your zip code or outside your school district. And for an additional 75 of the worst performing schools, parents can sign petitions and force the district to implement real change. If you'd like to stay informed, please visit edvoice.tv.